How's it going, boys? Today's video is going to be a little bit serious. So we're known here on this channel that we speak about topics that are uncomfortable to talk about, and hemorrhoids is one of them. And it's actually a problem that a lot of people suffer from and very few people are comfortable talking about. I personally suffered from this problem for many years and I've recently solved it. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about all the treatments I tried, all the pros and cons of each and every treatment, and I'm going to tell you how I solved this problem without undergoing surgery, because the surgery for hemorrhoids is one of the toughest surgeries you can possibly do. It's extremely painful. The preparation for it is long and excruciating, and then the recovery takes 2 to 3 weeks of extreme pain. So there are other ways to solve hemorrhoids, and I'm going to be talking about my experience solving them in this video. Okay, so I've been suffering from hemorrhoids since I think early 20s. I've been struggling with constipation and other things, and that's probably what led to hemorrhoids. Hemorrhoids can develop for so many different reasons. First, genetics can play a role in whether hemorrhoids are going to develop or not. Sitting too long, be it sitting on the chair or sitting on the toilet, can also lead to hemorrhoids getting developed faster. Also, weightlifting and heavy weightlifting, which I've been doing since I was 15 basically, can also cause hemorrhoids. So on top of that, if you're constipated for a very long time or you suffer from digestion problems, that could also affect your hemorrhoids. So regardless, I've been suffering from it for a while, but it wasn't bothering me that much because I didn't have pain and I didn't have bleeding. However, recently I've been getting a lot of pain and a lot of bleeding. I don't want to get too much into the details, but it was really affecting my lifestyle and I had to do something about it, because many times after the toilet I cannot walk and I cannot sit, so I have to be laying down because I was in a lot of pain and discomfort, and that was really starting to affect my lifestyle, because especially like when you're traveling, when you're outside, you don't want to be laying on bed every time you have to use the toilet. So it was really affecting my lifestyle. I was also suffering from bleeding sometimes, so I'd be sitting and I'd be bleeding for no reason basically. So needless to say, it was really starting to annoy me, so I had to do something about it. So the first things that I've tried were suppositories that you basically insert into your rectum, and they basically relax your hemorrhoids and relax the blood vessels. Some of them had the cooling effect. They were helpful sometimes, but they did not actually solve the problem. Afterwards, and after some research, I learned about medicine that is an over-the-counter medicine. You can buy it from any pharmacy, that is called Ditralex, and apparently some people were getting a lot of good effects from it. It's basically strengthening the blood vessels in your body. I've tried taking it for a few months. It didn't really do much for me. Maybe it had some effect, but the effect wasn't satisfying. So afterwards, I started looking into different solutions. So the solutions I could find were, one, surgery, which I was really trying to avoid as much as I could, because after reading about it, I realized you're gonna suffer so much pain and discomfort from this surgery, be it before the surgery, just preparing for it, or after the surgery, just excruciating pain. So I was really trying to avoid the surgery. So I was left with two other options. Option number one is laser, and I'm not talking about laser surgery. The laser they use is a laser that actually burns the blood vessels in your anus, basically. So they have some sort of thick needle or rod that goes into the hemorrhoids, and they blast some strong laser on them that basically burns the blood vessels and prevents them from expanding and becoming uncomfortable and bleeding. However, one thing that I realized is that this treatment was extremely expensive. At least here in Bangkok, it cost around $4,000 to $5,000, and it's not guaranteed. So the hemorrhoids can go back in a year or so. So as you can imagine, I wasn't really excited to spend $5,000 and then have the hemorrhoids go back all over again in a year or so. Another treatment, which is minimally intrusive treatment, just like the laser, which is rubber bands. So I don't know if you heard about this procedure, but basically what they do is they would put strong rubber bands around the hemorrhoids, and what that will do is it will cut the blood flow to those blood vessels, and eventually this part of the hemorrhoid will just get cut, will get dried up, and will fall by itself. And after visiting few doctors, that was the treatment most of them recommended, because it's something that you can do very quick, it's inexpensive, and it's minimally intrusive, so doesn't involve any operation, any anesthetics, or anything like that. So I decided to go with this procedure after it was recommended to me from a few different doctors. So for this procedure, there's really no preparations. You just basically book an appointment and go to the doctor. You don't have to prepare your bowel movements or take some medications or anything. You just walk to the doctor. So the procedure itself took literally less than 5 minutes. So what the doctor will do is he will put something so that it will expand your anus and he can see the hemorrhoids, and then he will use some device that has rubber bands in it, and he will basically put a rubber band around each hemorrhoid that you have. So if you have 3 or more hemorrhoids, you're gonna need more than one treatment, because the doctor can only put 2 rubber bands at a time. But that's not a big deal because the procedure is actually pretty short and you can repeat it every 4 weeks. So you must be wondering to yourself, how did I feel after I had rubber bands attached to my anus? The answer is very uncomfortable. So the first treatment was actually, I would say, mildly uncomfortable. Like, it was uncomfortable, but I could tolerate it. It was affecting my sleep because it was waking me up from how uncomfortable it was. But the second treatment was much more uncomfortable because he was targeting bigger hemorrhoids, and that was really almost painful. So I had to take some painkillers, and he will prescribe to you some painkillers like paracetamol or something else, but you cannot take Advil and you cannot take Nurofen because they might increase the bleeding. So what happens after the procedure is the same day you get the procedure done, you're gonna be the most uncomfortable. The day after is gonna be a bit less uncomfortable, and the day after less uncomfortable, and you can go to the toilet normally when you have the rubber bands on. So it might feel slightly more uncomfortable when you have them on. You might also feel that you need to go to the toilet when you don't. So just due to the fact that you have some rubber bands inside your anus, you're gonna feel like there's something that needs to come out, but sometimes you just don't need to go to the toilet. So you really have to distinguish whether the rubber bands are causing the discomfort or you actually need to go to the toilet. For me personally, I kind of know my toilet routine, so I would go twice in the morning and that's it. So after that, whatever I'm feeling is probably from the rubber bands. So what happens after almost 48 hours of doing this treatment is the rubber bands will basically cut the hemorrhoid, and the hemorrhoid will actually fall when you go to the toilet. So it might cause some bleeding, but it's totally normal. At least that's what the doctor told me. And afterwards, it's gonna start healing by itself. Honestly, after the hemorrhoids fall, I didn't feel much pain. If anything, I actually felt relief that I don't have some rubber bands annoying me. So I actually did this procedure twice, and I can certainly say that I'm very happy with the results. So the cost of this procedure was around $400 or $500 here in Bangkok, and that was a cost for 2 procedures. And it's been around a month or so since I finished the last procedure, and I am not suffering from hemorrhoids as I used to. So when I go to the toilet, I just get up and I'm like completely comfortable. I don't have any prolapse or I don't have hemorrhoid flaring anymore. So far so good. I'm actually happy from the results. I am not sure how long the results are gonna last, but the way I thought about it is, even if the results would last for a year, I'm happy to repeat this procedure every year or so, compared to say an operation that will cause a lot of pain, and even then the hemorrhoids might go back. So if I had to do any of those procedures, I'd probably prefer the rubber bands. I'm actually very open-minded, and I might try the laser if I'm in another country and it costs a little bit less. But the laser only works on hemorrhoids that are kind of small. So if yours are bigger, then the laser is not going to be enough for you. all in all, I just wanted to make a short video to share with you my experience and to show you guys that there are solutions. You don't have to do an extremely risky operation and extremely uncomfortable and painful operation. So before you do the operation, first of all, you have to visit your doctor, because I'm not a doctor, and get an opinion of few different doctors before you do anything. Try some supplements or some over-the-counter medications, and then perhaps look into either laser or rubber bands, depending on your budget, depending on what's available in your city. And I would say keep the operation as last resort, because it's going to take 2 to 3 weeks of discomfort and pain, and it will take 3 weeks just for you to recover from that operation, and it's going to affect your life dramatically. So before you do that, try a less intrusive treatment or operation. And I truly hope that this video helped you out. I know I was struggling from it and there wasn't much content online, so I'm making this video for people like me, and there's a lot of people suffering from hemorrhoids nowadays. If you enjoyed watching and learned something new from it, all I'm asking is just a thumbs up, and let me know in the comment section below, how was your experience with hemorrhoids, if you solved it, and how did you solve it. And anyways, I'm gonna see you in the next video. Bye-bye.